Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi and good morning or afternoon to Sir and also all the audiences. So today our group will present to you about our mini project of business law, that is consideration and intention to create legal action towards the case that has been given. So our group members are stand by Meor Muhammad Azeem bin Ainuddin. Second one is Muhammad Amirul Mukminin Berosli, Muhammad Nazmi bin Lazim, me, Ayu Ismahani Huda binti Ismail, and also Nur Fadwah Nadiah binti Nur Hisham. So, the case that have been given is about Madam Useful and her son, that is useless, about the issue that happened between them. So, I'll call my member, Meor, to explain more about this case.
For the first is the issue. The issue happened in this case is between Madam Useful and his son is useless. Firstly is Madam Useful offered to provide useless RM 1000 as his monthly expenses and a single story terrace house if useless agreed to further his study. After that, there was a misunderstanding between Useless and his mother after 6 months of his return. Then, after the misunderstanding, his mother stopped giving the expenses and asked him to leave the house. So, the issue in this case is whether there is any consideration between Useless and his mother. Based on Malaysian law of contract, in order to create a valid contract, the contract must fulfill all the elements of valid contract, which are offer, acceptance, consideration, certainty, and consent.
So, the classification of consideration is executed. Consideration. It is because it is a promise made in exchange for the performance of an act. In this case, it shows that Madam Useful has provided him monthly expenses and also terrace house as Useless has agreed to further his studies at KPM as promises with his mother. So, it is considered as a reward situation as Madam Useful has given him the reward that has been promised as Useless has do his promise. So, the relevant section for the situation is section 26A CA 1950. Every agreement made without consideration is void. So, the agreement did not fulfill the requirement to be valid.
Okay, so there is an example of cases that same as useless and medium useful situation. So the relevant case for this situation is the case of Ri Tan Soh Sim that happened in 1951. So basically in this case, vital term of the contract was not certain. The custom says that adopted children are considered to be in near relations with their adopted mother and adopted siblings, but not with their adopted mother siblings.
Based on the above law, useless cannot take legal actions against his mother because the contract entered by both parties is void at the first place. Even though the agreement based on natural love and affection between parties standing in near relation to each other, the contract becomes void because lack of element of certainty. The important element of the contract which is not expressed in writing.
If the contract is expressed in writing, the contract will be valid. And useless can take legal action against his mother, Madam Useless, for breach a contract. In conclusion, there is no consideration between useless and his mother, Madam Useless, because the contract that entered by both party is void at the first place.
So next, we will discuss about intention to create legal action. So I will tell you the case that's been given again. So the case is about Madam Useful has offered to provide Useless 1,000 ringgit as his monthly expenses. And also, she will provide a single-story terrace house if Useless agree to further his study in accounting at KPM. But after his 6 months of his return, there was a misunderstanding between them. Because of the case, his mother stopped giving their expenses and asked him to leave the house. So, is there any intention to create legal relation between Useless and his mother? So, our group will tell you about is there any intention to create legal relation between them. So, I'll call my next member.
Okay, so based on Malaysian law of contract, in order to create a valid contract, the contract must fulfill all the elements of valid contract, which are offer, acceptance, consideration, certainty, and consent. So, the presumption of the existence of intention to create legal relations that can concluded from the case law is social, domestic, and family agreement. In these presumptions, the agreements are not intended to be legally enforceable. Therefore, failure to fulfill the promise will not be subjected to a legal action.
Uh, okay, next, we move. In this case, can be related with the case of Balfour versus Balfour that happened in 1990, which is the husband, which is the defendant, has promised to pay his wife a monthly allowance, but he's default the promise, and his wife sued him for breach a contract. There was no legally binding agreement between the parties because the party did not in, intend to be bound by legal consequence.
Based on above case law, Useless cannot take legal action to his mother because the agreement is not legally enforceable. So the contract is void. The important element of the contract must be intended to be legally enforceable, but the contract doesn't have the important element. If the contract is legally binding, then the contract will be valid and Useless can take legal action against Madam Useful for breach of contract.
So, in the conclusion for the situation is there is no intention to create legal relation because they did not create binding contract. In the nutshell, for the first question, which is consideration, the conclusion is there is no consideration between Useless and his mother because the contract that entered by both parties is void and there is no intention to create legal relation because they did not create a binding contract. So
Yeah. Also, in our opinion, moms know best for their children. So in this case, Madam Useful has her responsibility to provide her son to make a living by give the allowance and also the house for him to live. So when all the things has been given by his mother, Madam Useful, so she has the right to take it back. And also, the agreement is not being the agreement is not being agreed by officially, which is under the law. So Madam Useful still has the right to take back her responsibility that she has given to her son. So
So that's all from our group. Thank you.
Thank you.